All right. Hello, hello. This is Tony, yukito636. I'm live with Talon, and we're gonna make a character today. Talon, if you
Yeah.
wanna say hi to the audience, let them know a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm a friend of Tony, fairly experienced gamist, professional sitter, you call him. So basically, yeah, we're just gonna be rolling up or just experimenting with Tony's character generator here.
Yep. So what I've got here is the Master of All RNG sheets, uh, and we're gonna do a couple of die rolls and work up a character.
Yep.
So the idea of this isn't to make a super optimized character, but really it's to flex some creative writing process behind making the backstory make sense with whatever the character is.
Yeah.
If we end up rolling something,
Completely
uh,
and utterly.
well, actually too normal, so like a human fighter soldier, we'll do a
Oh, okay.
reroll. Um,
Yeah, yeah. We
because
don't want to get too generic, but we don't want to fucking
right,
crazy.
right. So we want to try. We want to make a character that'll work and make sense in somebody's world, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just try out some combinations that you might not have thought of at first, right? Okay, so let's get started. So let's see. For our first roll, we're going to be determining the race of our character.
Got
Um,
it.
Yep. So, in 5th edition, there are 38 official races. We're going to be rolling 36 of them because I am not having us do the Lokatha or the Grung at this point, since I don't have that content in an official book yet. Um, so, Talon, if you can give me, let's see. Oh, give me a die 4 and a
D4.
yep, a D4 and a D10 roll. So that'll
Got it. Well, let me clean out my dice bowl real quick.
all right.
Oh, I don't
So
have a dice tray. I have a dice bowl.
oh yeah. Let's see. So first, determining our race. Um, so we've got 36 printed options of the races themselves, and then there is a separate table on my chart which gives us roughly 40 or so different sub races. Right? Some of those are more flavor text than
So
actual descriptions.
I rolled a 14.
You rolled a 14. Okay. So that is setting us up
No, no,
with.
12. Not 14, 12. My bad.
Okay, so you rolled a 1 on your die 4 and a 2 on your die 10.
Yep.
Okay, so number 12 on our chart would be a Goliath. So we're gonna.
All right. Okay. Goliath. That's a good play.
Okay, so that's
Hit
much
fucking four, but
Goliath, which will come from Volo's Guide. So we're gonna need that book. Okay, uh, let's see. Now, getting started.
oh fuck!
Gesundheit.
That was a call.
Oh. Okay, we're looking at page 108 in Volo's Guide for the Goliath. All right. going through. Driven competitors. Every day brings a new challenge to a Goliath. Food, water, and shelter are rare in the uppermost mountain reaches. A single mistake can bring doom to an entire tribe, while the individual's heroic effort can ensure the entire group's survival. Goliaths thus place a premium on self-sufficiency and individual skill. They have a compulsion to keep score, counting their deeds and tallying their accomplishments to compare to others. Goliaths love to win, but they see defeat as a pride to improve their skills.
So they're a very competitive race.
I would say so. Yes.
All right.
Other headers for the section would also be fair play, and survival of the fittest.
Okay, so they're just they're an honorable, competitive people. So
correct.
They just love competition. They just love honor.
Yep. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. Going through. Let's go to the traits next. Strength score increases by 2, so we're gonna just plug that in for now. And Constitution increases by 1. All right. So Goliaths are
strong and have a lot of health.
Yep. Age. Goliaths have lifespans comparable to humans. They enter adulthood in their late teens and usually live less than a century. Alignment.
Goliath? I thought Goliaths lived for fucking ever. Or is that giant?
I believe you're thinking of giant.
Okay. I can never tell the fucking difference.
See, Goliaths, funnily enough, Goliaths were originally like major giant descendants, and I think they've just been changed to some sort of humanoid.
Oh, it's like the same thing with the Dragonborn, like how the Dragonborn were like actual descendants of dragons, and now they're their own.
Well, I think the Dragonborn are more like a modern invention because half dragons have existed for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think the Dragonborn involved some new content that they were getting through. Okay. Let's see next. Alignment. Goliath society, with its clear roles and tasks, has a strong lawful bent. The Goliath's sense of fairness, balanced with an emphasis on self-sufficiency and personalized accountability, pushes them towards neutrality. Well, lawful neutral, but we're going to let the rest of the character decide that. Size. Goliaths are between 7 and 8 feet tall and weigh between 280 and 340 pounds. They are size medium.
That is. I was gonna say something that would have gotten banned. But that is fucking stupid.
Well, in D&D, sizes really reflect your positioning on the table.
Yeah.
So to be large, you have to occupy a 10 by 10 square or be of a height exceeding that, right? So actually, to be large, you would have to be roughly 10 feet tall or 10 feet wide. So they just sneak under that window. But yeah, you're right.
I already discussed with you for ad nauseum about my hatred for class sizing.
Right. Well, the issue also comes in that I mean, you could potentially play a giant, but then you'd be useless in a dungeon if you can't fit through the door. I think that's just why they generalize the player races. Yeah, I think that's why they generalize the player races as medium for the most part. Okay, next, getting into speed. Base speed of 30 feet. Pretty average. They are natural athletes, so they come with the proficiency in athletics. So checking off that box. Stone's endurance. You can focus yourself to occasionally shrug off. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d12. Add your Constitution modifier to the number rolled and reduce the damage by that total. After you use this trait, can't use it again until you finish a long or short rest, which is pretty astounding.
So what is it? Just roll a d12?
Roll a d12 plus your Constitution to reduce damage.
Oh. Okay, yeah, that's fucking. borderline broken.
Let's reduce damage and let's see. Once per long or short rest. I mean, that's a very good ability, which really plays into uh, the classes they get set as. But the reason we're using this generator, though, is to try something different. So we'll see what we come up with. Powerful build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity. And weight you can drag, push, or lift. Okay, so that's...
Okay, so even though you're medium, you can lift shit that a heavy or a large style monster
right,
carry.
which affects the calculation. So I think for a standard creature, it's something like 15 pounds per strength score.
Yeah.
So with if you have a strength of 10, that means that you can lift up to 150 pounds when carrying or moving things. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what else. Oop. Okay. All right, and then next, Mountain Born. You're acclimated to high altitude, including elevations above 20,000 feet. You're also naturally adapted to cold climates, as described in Chapter 5 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. So
you're just really like the cold.
I believe it. Yeah, it just means you're really accustomed to it. So, what's described in the Dungeon Master's Guide, we basically go over that if there's saves against becoming cold or being damaged by it.
It just doesn't matter to you.
Well, unless you're doing freezing damage, right? That's different.
Yeah,
But if you're in a cold climate, you won't have to make those checks against saves or checks against the nature of the place you're at. Okay, let's see. And languages.
Common and one other.
Common and giant.
Oh, they get giant too. Okay.
Yep. So, like I was saying, they have that origin with giants, but I think they only count as humanoids.
Okay. Well, aren't giants like always evil in their alignment, except for like cloud giants?
Well, see, there's a certain power dynamic, so it really depends on which setting you're going with. Though they do tend to rule as tyrants, which would put them more towards evil. And then,
because I know when like hill giants are neutral. I always thought they were neutral evil, but like cloud giants are like usually good.
I would say a lot of it would come down to like the writing or the setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, they I think they tend toward evil, just because of how they put their positions above others, by their size.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so there is a race. Next, we're going to get into class. All right. So, let's see. So we've got 87 different official subclasses printed.
Oh shit.
And official classes are now the Artificer, the Barbarian, the Bard, the Cleric, the Druid, the Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, and the wizard. You can also find the Blood Hunter, which is Critical Role content on the official D&D Beyond page, but we're not going to get into that one today. So I'm going to set up the roll for this one. So I think to make this the easiest, we're just going to go D100 and see what we get out of 87. So, all right, we've got a 76. So let's see what we've got on the chart. So 76 will put us at a wizard.
A Goliath wizard?
A Goliath abjuration wizard.
This is gonna be a fucking weird ass character. Alright, I can put those.
Okay. So we're going to go abjuration wizard. And we're going to say level 1 just to start the build. So that will just need the PHB. There's my book. There's my book. Okay. So I'd say, you know, for all the 5th edition that I've played, I've enjoyed being a wizard the most, followed closely by playing a rogue.
Yeah, so you know me. I solely play one class.
Yeah.
I'm not that creative. Like the creative things, I have a character that wreck ass.
All right. So we've got one of the best types of characters for Constitution, playing one of the ones with the weakest Constitution.
Yeah. Well, what's the intelligence of? What's like the average intelligence of Goliath?
You know, there's a detriment. So here's one of the things that I actually like about 5th edition. Most of the classes, or most of the races, don't have detrimental stats, unless they're just really oddly
Obvious.
specific, right? So like the really small creatures might have an issue with strength, but there's ways of getting around it, right? In case anybody's heard the story of the Swollbold, you can play a very, very buff kobold.
Or like a monk gnome or shit. Super ripped.
Oh yeah, true. Or like a halfling barbarian or something. You know.
Yeah.
These builds exist, and you just need to.
I've seen them. I've seen a monk.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. As a wizard, you gain the following features. Starting off with hit points. We're starting up with a die 6 as the base.
Rolling. I'm rolling it. Nope, fuck you.
No, we're all right. So it's a die 6 plus Constitution modifier. So we haven't done stats yet, so I'm just filling in the die.
Okay.
So we'll get to the rolls for that. All right.
Got it.
So to determine that, we're going to start off with a die 6 in the box. Next, going on to armor. None. Which, all right. Weapons, the most specific, we've got daggers, dirks, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows. Okay. And then tools, none. Which honestly seems weird to me, because you'd think if anybody would have
wouldn't have fucking tools.
Right. If you think anybody would have, it would be, you know, a wizard and maybe something. Yeah. This also came out before they really laid out how most of the tool proficiencies would work. So maybe that's, you know, something that they haven't changed. But
well, look, you're talking yesterday about like when I rolled the war fort. That I had like an integrated shit.
Oh yeah. All right, so tools, none. And then up to saving throws, we've got intelligence and wisdom. So far we've got a very strong abjuration wizard. All right, and then skills. Ooh. We're going to choose our skills after we do the background. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll come back to that page because the background will determine some of the skills. So we don't want to, double dip on anything.
All right, get on my room.
Okay. So
Sorry,
let's see.
my room out.
Who do we got in chat? Hello?
We have right now currently in chat watching us stick around. Commander Root, he's new. Welcome.
Hi,
Free
Commander.
Arms, he's been here for a while. And Rinko Sami. Sorry if I put it bad.
All right. So, hi, chat people. Can I get somebody to get me a random number between 1 and 42? Anybody in chat?
Oh, you said 42.
What were you going to roll?
What do you think?
All right. So probably the best method for that might be a die 4 and a die 10. Or if you have some weird dice, I do have a D5, which would get
I
you...
got my digital dice, which has a bunch of weird shit on it.
Ah, yeah, gotcha.
I think I even have a D.
All right. Somebody give me a number. What do we got?
Anybody? Numbers all around.
Oh, hello.
Oh, fuck.
All right. So, come on. I need chats to give me a number 1 to 42.
Come on, we're not like other Twitch streamers. We actually cooperation. Chat.
Come on. This is the RNG of the whole show. We've still got a whole bunch more content to get through. Anybody, just anybody in chat. Give me a number. 1 to 42.
Okay. Bam.
41. Okay. Thank you, my co-host. All right. So.
That was me.
Yeah, I saw. All right.
Oh.
So a 41 will get us the Faceless from Avernus.
I have no idea what the fuck that is.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're gonna go with the Faceless, and I don't even have that book out, so let me go grab it from the shelf. I'll be right back. Talon, if you want to keep our chat busy,
all right.
Tell you what, if you can convince chat, give me 5 more numbers. I'd appreciate it. Give them, let's see, numbers between 1 and 20.
Okay, you hear that, chat? Numbers 1 through 20. Do it. Let's see here. Who's in chat? I know this Reko Sami. Sorry, you fucking got your name. I'm gonna choose you to pick a random number.
Right. You picked the one number I didn't have out. Okay, Descent into Avernus. So we're looking for our faceless background. So we're looking for character options. Let's see.
Chat's still a little quiet. Shy. Bloodluster. Oh,
Howdy, welcome to chat. Okay.
so, I'm just gonna repeat this for Bloodluster. 5 numbers, 1 and 20. You got it right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this one of those sidebar?
Oh, Bloodluster. There you go.
All right, thanks.
Well, if no one else is gonna do it,
Let's see. Okay. So, it's supposed to be a sidebar because I am not seeing it in.
what book are you reading?
So this is in Baldur's Gate, Descent into Avernus. There should be a
Oh,
section
okay.
on the faceless, but there isn't a specific character section. Hmm. So I'm guessing this must be in a sidebar. Let's see.
So, for those of us who don't know what the fuck face is, hopefully, Keiko explains while you're looking for it.
Huh. Jeez, I have to look it up. Okay. Well, it's not one that I generally use or have used.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Faceless. Being who you are, you could never be a hero. Whether due to your class, your people, or your family, or your sins, something about you prevents you from effectively pursuing the path you've chosen. Even so, that doesn't stop you. You've left your old face behind, taking on a new persona, becoming something more. Characters with the faceless background don a disguise, literally or otherwise, as they adventure. This persona might be dramatic or subtle. In a way, though, many characters have such larger-than-life personalities. Therefore, this background largely focuses on detailing the hero behind the mask.
So you're a fucking superhero. We can be Goliath Batman.
Goliath, Batman. Sure.
We're doing Goliath Batman. I don't care. Fuck you. We're doing Goliath Batman.
All right. So starting off, skill proficiencies. We've got deception and intimidation. Two proficiencies. We'll replace that none with a disguise kit. Languages. We gain one additional of our choice. So Talon, I'm going to need you to come up with a language that our Goliath friend is going to learn.
Infernal.
Infernal? Okay.
Yeah, Infernal.
All right, so. All right. And then additional equipment. We've got a disguise kit, a costume, and a pouch of 10 gold pieces. All right. Now, the reason I had you roll those D10 was because we've got to determine these background traits. So the first one is 15. Okay. We're going to go with that 10 for our ideal. Right. So a disguise with... Oh, sorry. Oh, our faceless persona is what that determines. Let's see. So, according to the chart, that's not how you spell that. Our character dons a animal or monster disguise meant to inspire fear. So, can you tell?
Come on, that's literally okay. It's okay. We're doing Goliath Batman. I don't give a shit. After reading that, we're doing Goliath Batman.
Okay. Okay, so he takes on the persona of the Bat. Let's see. Also, feature dual personalities. Most of your fellow adventurers and the world you know you as your persona. Those who seek to learn more about you, your weaknesses, your origins, or your purpose, find themselves stymied by your disguise. Upon donning a disguise and behaving as your persona, you are unidentifiable as your true self. By removing your disguise and revealing your true face, you are no longer identifiable as your persona. So, real quick, we've got like a 7 to 8 foot tall giant man walking around town who just disappears into the night just as a man in a giant bat costume comes through. So that's what we've got set up here. Interesting.
Yeah,
So,
it's just like if a space marine decides to be Batman.
Yep. Okay, so that real quick, we're going to come up with 2 names for this guy when we get to it, but let's get through the rest of the characteristics.
Got it.
All right.
The superhero name alias. Right?
Oh, naturally. Okay, so on our table here, the next thing we've got is a 6. Let's see. Personality trait. Okay, number 6. I cultivate a single obscure hobby or study and eagerly discuss it at length. So... All right. So what would be a good hobby for this Goliath man bat creature?
Haberdasher. The haberdasher.
Really? He collects hats?
Yes.
All right. I'll add it if you can spell haberdasher.
Oh, I'm on my phone. Fuck you. I can't spell it.
We're just going to put
So
collects
it's
headwear.
so it's HAB.
You're cutting out again.
Oh no. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. HAB.
ER DASH
ER.
dash DASH ER.
Yep.
Yep. There you go.
Haberdasher. Okay. Let's see. Next, we had a 9 on the table. Oh, I actually need a D6. All right. Roll me some dice.
All right. You need D6.
Yep.
6.
Okay. That is 6. Anonymity is the ideal.
Yeah.
It's my deeds that should be remembered, not their instruments. I mean, we're literally just building Batman at this point. Okay. Need another D6.
Another D6. Got it.
Yep.
1.
Oh, we got a 1. Okay. For bond, I do everything for my family. My first thought is keeping them safe. So.
Oh, damn it. That's lame. That's lame.
I mean, that just seems like the perfect, thing to stomp on as a DM.
Yeah.
Oh no, my parents have been murdered. Well, changing my bond to getting revenge. Okay. And let's roll a flaw. Give me another D6.
D6.
Yep.
5.
Got a 5. Okay. So, I think far ahead. A detachedness often mistaken for daydreaming. Alright, so. Okay. Mm-hmm. Get the contents again. Oh, okay. See, that was the issue. It's not as a header, it's as a subcategory under the Baldur's Gate Gazetteer. I gotcha. It's hard to speed read sometimes. So it's page 202.
1 second. I'm gonna go turn the air conditioning on. It's fucking hot as hell.
All right. Okay. So that would be on page 203 of the Descent into Avernus for the Faceless. All right. Okay. So at this point, we can get back into our wizard notes. All right. So let's see. We were at skills. Okay. At this point, we need to choose 2 from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion. So,
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I was doing something.
sure. Okay, so we need to choose 2 from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, and Religion.
Okay, so I'm gonna go investigation and arcana. I think that's gonna be better.
All right, so we're going to pick 2 from Intelligence. So we're going to try and make that stat sort of important. Um, let's see. So we can throw some punches, but we're definitely going to want to put some stats into our Intelligence and maybe the Charisma. Seems
Well,
like...
my whole thing is like we're playing Goliath Batman. So and we're a wizard.
Yep, an Abjuration
So the
Wizard.
whole thing. Okay, I have no idea what the fuck that does. Again, remember I play warlocks.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that soon enough. All right. And then for equipment, before we get into the stats, we'll do the equipment next. Let's see. We get a quarterstaff or a dagger.
Batmobile.
I'm assuming we're going to start off with the dagger.
No, start with the quarterstaff. The fuck?
Well, he's Batman, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Batarang's not
He's a wizard.
listed. Batarang's not listed, so I would assume you'd take a dagger.
No, I was gonna take the quarterstaff because like he's a wizard and you could use that like as a ploy. You know, I was like, oh, here's his magic bat staff. It's just quarterstaff. You can get the shit out of it. It's like Nightwing.
Let's
So
see.
he's like Nightwing.
And then we can either have a component pouch or an arcane focus.
I'd say component pouch because that sounds a lot more like
Utility belt?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It sounds a lot more like a utility belt.
Okay. And then we can have a Scholar's Pack or an Explorer's Pack. Thinking Batman, I would think Explorer's Pack.
Yeah, more Explorer's Pack.
Nice. Okay. And then also a spell book.
Fucking lighter.
All right. So, well, as we discussed before the stream, I'm not going to get too in depth with the spell casting, just because the spells you pick for a campaign deal heavily with what you plan on doing in this campaign, right? So while we're talking about an arcane tradition, really we're going to focus more on what that means as a character, what you'll be capable of, rather than, you know, what the individual instance might be calling for, right? The important things, though, are that our spellcasting ability for a wizard are based on intelligence. So when we're doing our die rolls for our base stats, we're going to want to have that focused on the intelligence. Or for depending on which spells you pick, we might want to maybe lean more towards spells that don't have a save and just have certain effects. But we'll get into that. All right, so spellbook. At first level, you have a spellbook containing 6 first-level wizard spells. The spellbook is the repository of the wizard spells you know, except your cantrips, which are fixed in your mind. So that's the background explanation for how you're able to cast cantrips without using spell slots, is because spell slots are really just planned medium, right? So ahead of time you prepare the spell, and that's your slot. Preparing and casting spells. The wizard table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your spells of first level and higher. To cast one of these spells, you must expend a slot of the spell's level or higher. You gain all extended spell slots when you finish a long rest. All right. So for the traits, we're just going to add the wizard spell list and ritual casting, and using a spell casting focus. So ritual casting allows you to cast a spell as a ritual without using a slot, as long as it has the ritual key feature. Spellcasting focus. You can use an arcane focus from the equipment section as a spellcasting focus for your wizard spells. So, real quick, before we get into anything else, what is Batman's spellcasting focus? Usually this is... Huh?
I'd say arcane. Oh, sorry, arcane.
Well, it's an arcane focus, but...
Oh.
So usually that's either something like an orb or a totem or something you would carry by hand, a wand, a rod, or a staff.
I'd say like a I'd say staff. Yeah, I'd say a staff.
Okay, so right here we're gonna add arcane focus is the bat staff. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Learning spells of first level and higher. Each time you gain a wizard level, you can add 2 wizard spells of your choice to your spellbook for free. Each of these spells must be of a level for which you have spell slots, as shown on the wizard table. On your adventures, you might find other spells that you can add to your spellbook. See the Your Spellbook sidebar. So that section covers adding additional spells, which is what makes the wizard the best spellcaster, in my opinion. Because while other spellcasters get their spells, which might be more powerful, wizards can learn many more spells, right? So just by traveling around and learning them and copying them down, you can incorporate that into your gameplay.
Well, can't that happen with any spellcasting class?
Well, certain classes have...
Because like say if a sorcerer, say if like a sorcerer came in, studied a shit.
Well,
he'd be able to have the same. Like, granted, it would take a lot longer.
Well, see, the thing is, the wizards also have the biggest spell list, right? Which means potentially you could learn all of those spells in that list. Whereas sorcerer and warlock are much more limited in their scope. So, as a wizard, you're able to diversify a lot more.
Okay.
Now, the only thing, though, is that if you learn every spell, you only have, that set number of spell slots, which is a good average, but that's how many spells per day.
Okay.
The other thing, I guess, would be clerics or paladins or whichever class has access to their complete spell list right off the bat, but for them, they can still only use their selected spells for the day, right? Whereas,
well, don't druids have that? Don't druids have that too?
Yeah, something similar to it. Every class has a base of spells, but there's a different subset of rules per each one. All right. Okay. Next up, arcane recovery. Let's see. Your arcane recovery. You have learned to regain some of your magical energy by studying your spellbook once per day. When you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. The slots can have a combined level that is equal to or less than half of your wizard level. And none of the spell slots can be above 6th level.
Okay. Wait, then how do you cast, like, as a wizard, then how do you cast, like, insane fucking level? Well, I guess that just depends on your wizard.
So, well, spells. So the way that rest of that recovery works is that you have to finish a long rest, obviously, right?
Okay.
So once you're, so the cap is that none of the slots can be above 6th level. Is because once you reach, would that be 12th level, I believe. Well, actually, yeah, I got the chart right here. So let's see. When do you start learning 6th level spells? You can have your first 6th level slot level at 11th. Let's see. And then you finally get your top 9th level spell at 17th. So half of that would be 10. So once you get to those levels, you can only cast like one. Yeah, at 6th level spells, you can only have one slot until you're at 19th level, and then you get 2 6th level slots, right? So for each level above that, you only have the one slot. So that would have to draw, once per day. So it's assumed that you would have a long rest per day.
Okay.
So that would feed back in. So you've only got the one slot though.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. All right. Let's see. Arcane Tradition. When we reach 2nd level, you choose an arcane tradition, shaping your practice of magic through one of 8 schools: abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment, evocation, illusion, necromancy, and transmutation. There are also additional expansions, but we're not going to get into those today. Those will be on the sheet later. Then we're going to skip ability score, spell mastery, and signature spell. So let's start off. School of Abjuration. The School of Abjuration emphasizes magic that blocks, banishes, or protects. Detractors of this school say that its tradition is about denial, negation, rather than positive assertion. You understand, however, that ending harmful effects, protecting the weak, and banishing evil influences is anything but philosophical void. It is a proud and respected vocation. Called abjurers, members of the school are sought when baleful spirits require exorcism, when important locations must be guarded against magical spying, and when portals to other planes of existence must be closed.
Oh, we can be Demon Hunter Batman then.
Demon Hunter Batman. That's a pretty solid take.
Hunter who plays as Batman, who is a superhero. Dude, that's fucking badass. Let's run with that.
Alright. Okay, so we're going to put this under our spellcasting section. So, Abjuration Savant. Beginning when you select this school at 2nd level, the golden time you must spend to copy any abjuration spell into your spellbook is halved. So, golden time are halved for abjuration spell copying. Okay, Arcane Ward. Starting at 2nd level, you can weave magic around yourself for protection. When you cast an abjuration spell of 1st level or higher, you can simultaneously use a strand of the spell's magic to create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. The ward has a hit point maximum equal to twice your wizard level plus your intelligence modifier.
So it's just so you just instantly it's just an instant cast magic.
So you create a ward Dick Ward. It's Robin. You get a magic Robin.
Yeah. Ah, nice.
All right. I don't know if it takes physical form or anything, but you have a ward. So, Arcane Ward. Let's see. The ward has a hit point. Let's see. So, hit point equals...
I kind of feel the this wizard class is like really like coinciding really well with the whole superhero.
Yeah, so as a sort of shield maker and protector, I think it's nicely thematic for this character.
Yeah.
So
Like,
while I
well,
wouldn't
since you
think
have,
of playing a Goliath wizard, I think this has worked out pretty well.
yeah, because it's like, granted, we do have a great something to pull from, which isn't bad, by the way. Yeah, it's like shit like this is like, yeah, I kind of like it. Like even though this is completely RNG, it's like it's all flowing together pretty well.
So essentially, once you cast a spell, your ward will take damage for you. Right.
Nice.
Whenever you take damage, the ward takes the damage instead. If this damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, you will take the remaining damage. Let's see. While the ward has 0 hit points, it can't absorb damage, but its magic remains. Whenever you cast an abjuration spell at first level or higher, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to or twice the level of the spell. So if you start casting abjuration magic again, the ward recovers hit points.
Nice. Okay. I can see a build revolving around just the
What?
using the ward, just buffing up using spells just to buff up the ward, and like having that be the main part of your combat.
Let's see. So I guess another important detail. What's the occurrence? When you cast a abjuration spell at first level. So after casting maybe abjuration spell. Also, I hope my shorthand is legible.
Looks good on my screen.
All right. Okay. So the important details. So after you cast a spell, you create a ward, right? So it's assumed to occupy your space.
Yep.
And it has a certain amount of hit points based on your level, which is also driven by intelligence. So that's going to make that intelligence score just that much more important. So when we get to stats, that's going to be pretty key.
Okay.
I feel like we're gonna build a wizard who likes to punch things.
Punch wizard.
Yeah.
Like a punch Jedi.
Yeah, that seems like a solid build for this character. Especially with that +2 to strength. That's gonna be really good.
Dude, just punch wizard all day.
All right, let's see. When you cast it, once you create the ward, you can't create it again until you finish long rest. So.
Wait, I just had an idea.
Yeah.
So you know how you can imbue certain spells, like elemental spells, objects. Like you can put can't you put a fire spell onto a sword, right? Isn't that possible?
Okay, so you're talking about magic item crafting, right?
Yeah.
Which is that has its own subset of rules, unless what you're thinking of is the artificer, who just can do that as an ability.
Okay.
Magic item crafting is a lengthy, extended process.
Okay. Um,
But go on with your hypothetical.
so I was thinking is like, say if that is a part of it, like say you can do item magic craft. Since we're going the route of punch, you could like imbue certain cells into like some gauntlets or like cestus,
Mm-hmm.
and like just like your gauntlets just like to hold each spell. That can like if that makes any fucking
All right, so we're talking about taser gauntlets, right? That's where we're getting with this.
kind of kind of like taser gauntlets, but you can change the elements of that, so you can swap out.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have shock gauntlets, like you'll cast lightning on your gauntlets. And say if you're fighting like an ice Goliath or ice monster, you can switch it to fire.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think
Interesting.
that's like, yeah. I think like that fits this character. Like that's what I imagine it as. You know.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. We're not going to get into it, but additional features from the Abjuration Wizard are the Projected Ward, which at 6th level, when you see a creature within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to have your Arcane Ward absorb the damage instead. So basically, you take your shield buddy and you throw it in front of your ally, right? Which would be very useful if you're trying to save the healer because you're all about to die. Let's see. If this damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, the warded creature takes the remaining damage. So it blocks up to its point, but that's still really useful. All right, improved abjuration. Beginning at 10th level, when you cast an abjuration spell that requires you to make an ability check as a part of the casting that spell, as an counter spell and dispel magic, you add your proficiency bonus to that ability check. Okay, so real quick, abjuration includes counter spell and dispel magic. Right.
Counter spell.
So let's just look up. So counterspell being one of the most annoying and powerful fucking spells in the game.
Yeah.
Yep. 3rd level abjuration. You attempt to interrupt a creature in the process of casting a spell. If the creature is casting a spell of 3rd level or lower, its spell fails and has no effect. If it is casting a spell of 4th level or higher, make an ability check, yada yada, blah blah blah. DC equals 10 plus the spell's level. On a success, the creature's spell fails. So, at 10th level, you add your proficiency bonus to the ability check that they have to beat. Right?
Yeah.
And at 10th level, what's the proficiency bonus? Like, is that 3, 4? Let's get the chart. Oh, here. I'm turning through all these pages. So at 10th level, you've got a +4. So that would be, let's see, 10 plus your intelligence plus your proficiency. What?
We didn't roll stats yet.
No, I didn't. But this improved abjuration just makes certain spells ridiculous. And then finally at 14th level, you get spell resistance. So you have advantage on saving throws against spells. Furthermore, you have resistance against the damage of spells. This is a very, very powerful creature that we've made. And that's all just RNG.
Power. A lot of potential power.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, now we're going to get into the die rolls.
Okay.
So I have all the dice for this that we're going to need.
Yep. What dice are we rolling first?
All right. Well, we're going to roll the 6, and then we're going to see which stats we want to attribute them to. All right. So our first one is a 12.
All right. I'm gonna put 12 in intelligence. No.
Hold on.
Oh.
We're going to roll all 6 and then determine. All right.
Okay.
So that is... this one's going to be more of a dumpy stat. This one's a 10.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. You know,
It's average.
It's an average.
All right. Third roll. Ooh, big oof. That's a 4, which I'm going to call
Ooh.
DM Fiat. I'm going to re-roll because that's just bad. Like that's potentially a non-functioning character. Okay, this one's better. So we've got 9, another 12.
Okay.
All right. And this one, 13.
Okay.
So most of these stats are just slightly above average.
Yeah. And I think I can. I think I have a way to like pull that into the character itself. Why he has such average stats.
Oh, this is going to be another low roll. Hello, Lord Coordinator. Thank you for coming. All right. So this next stat, oof, we've got another dump stat. That's 7.
Oh, your background's covering all the.
What is it?
Nothing. Never mind. 7.
Yep.
Wait, isn't 7 like?
7 is
Is it
really not good.
Yeah, isn't because I thought like if you have like a 0, that means you're dead. 0 on any stat is dead.
Well, actually, let's get into the stats section.
Leave an alert for now. We'll be back later. All right.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm not on the best audio equipment. It's just an issue.
Yeah, same for both. I'm literally.
Yeah. Well, the important thing is I can hear you mostly. All right. Let's see. So a 7 would be a -2. Uh,
Yeah, that's bad.
You know what? We're going to use another DM Fiat, and we're going to roll it.
Got it.
Okay, this just turned into his best stat. That's a,
What is it?
it's a 6 and a 6 and a 5.
Oh shit.
Right. So 17, if my math is correct.
I know exactly where that's going, and it's not going to be where you. So.
Okay. Right. And final roll. We've got another 12.
Okay. So one really good stat and a bunch of average stats.
Well, slightly above average, but yeah.
I love it.
All right. Because, let's see, 3 dice 6, the average is 3.5, right? So 3.5, 3.5, 3.5 puts us at a 10.5. So 11 or 10 and 11 is very average. All right. So let's see. That's a 12. That's a 12. That's a 10. That's a 13. Okay, so we've got a 17, a 13, 3 12s, and a 10. So where are we putting the 17?
17 is going to strength.
Strength? You think so?
Yep, going straight to strength.
All right. Okay, so we're going to start off. So 17 plus the 2 gives us a starting of 19 strength, which is about capped for player character. Let's see, and that gives us a bonus of +4. I'm also going to put a note down here. Since technically what we've built is a 3rd level character, so they would include a ability score improvement.
Okay.
So that's just a note for anybody who might play this character. Okay. Next, we've got 3 12s. Where do we... Oh, sorry. We've got a 13. Where do we want to put that? I'm thinking intelligence.
Yeah. 13 is going to go into intelligence.
All right. And our 13 will give us a +1, which isn't the highest, but it'll grow.
Yep.
Okay. And then our 3 12s.
Wisdom, charisma, and dexterity.
Okay. And then our 10, Constitution.
Goes into Constitution. Yep.
All right, so that gives us an 11. So the 12 gets us a +1. Constitution is +0. Intelligence, we have a 13. Wisdom, we have a +1. And Charisma, we have a +1. All right, so looking at these stats, we have a very punchy wizard.
Yeah, boy.
All right. Now, before we get into some of the other attributes of this character, we need a name. So let me get.
Okay. I got a name. I already thought of a name.
Yep.
Okay. His name is going to be Carter LaBelle.
Carter LaBelle.
LaBelle. Yep.
Okay. And can you explain this?
So I have a Ghost Rider comic right in front of me, and it's a comic issuing Carter Slade, the first Ghost Rider, and I have a LaBelle rifle bayonet hanging up on my wall.
Okay, so we're going with the what's in the room method.
Yep.
All right.
But the name already sounds like high society, kind of like a Batman, right? It already sounds like a very
remember that this is a Goliath.
No, exactly. That's the funny point. Yeah, that's the whole point of it. It's hilarious.
But to everybody else, he's only exclusively known as the Bat.
The Bat.
So let me actually switch this.
No, you gotta change that. It's Ye Bat.
What?
It's Ye Bat.
Okay.
Y-E-Bat.
Okay, so you know the Ye sign actually comes from.
Yeah, I know.
The Y makes the TH.
Yes, it's supposed to be for the letter Thorn.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so, well, I guess what abilities? Let's see.
Abilities. So he's gonna have.
Or which ability score improvements do you think? Let me just get back to that page. Oh, no, ability score improvement happens at 4th level, so I actually need to remove that. I was thinking of a different build entirely. Hello, Lord Coordinator. I see you're still lurking.
Yeah, he's lurking.
All right. Okay, so going back to this, what kind of alignment do you think this character will have?
Well, since he's going, so the route I'm going for in my mind is that he isn't Batman. He's just heard of Batman and he Batman.
You're breaking in and out real bad. Actually, let me get in here and refresh this. Okay. Hello, hello?
Okay. Oh, thanks.
Got you back. Okay. All right. So,
He's not Batman. He's a Batman cosplay. Right about.
so he's a guy dressing up like his favorite hero,
Yes.
the Batman from a storybook in his childhood.
Yeah.
Or from,
Yeah.
not a storybook, a tribal tale.
So you know in the Chris Nolan Dark Knight movie where it's like the guy who's wearing hockey pads?
Yep.
That's him. That's our character. He's wearing hockey pads.
All right, so we've got Carter LaBelle was an average young Goliath who grew up on the stories of a hero of legend.
Yeah.
The Bat. Let's see. A warrior renowned for his... That's not how you spell renowned. Oh. There we go. Okay. World renowned for his words and stuff. What do we got? Renowned for his honor and diligence. Sure. Masked figure with a lust for justice. Okay. So how do we transition from this kid reading about this hero to the kid growing into a man who becomes the hero?
He just read way too many. He's just like an infatuated. Really got into.
Well, here let's look back. Let's look back at our characteristics here. So personality traits. Oh, he cultivates his obscure hobby. which he was a haberdasher.
Yep.
He does not wish to be remembered, but he wants good things to be remembered, and he will protect his family no matter what. He also thinks far ahead. Detachment is often mistaken for daydreaming. Okay. So, well, I mean, I think what would be cool is if he just found or donned the mantle once finding it,
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
right?
he just
Which
takes up
leads
that.
into our costume for him.
Yep.
Um, uh, I mean, should we just hit this guy with a tragic backstory?
No, I don't want him to have a tragic back. I want him to be a hero that just like I just want him to be just an average guy that just happened to be a hero for no fucking other than he kind of like Saitama.
Well, he's really not an average guy. He's got a 19th strength,
Well,
and
he found the mask.
he's
No,
considered
so
a
here's what happened. He
large
found the mask.
creature.
Yeah, so okay, here's what happened. It was a Goliath. He found the mask first. The mask has been something he's known about, and then he spent his younger years trying to get strong enough to wield it, in his mind. And so he just fucking got super jacked and got like semi-smart. So it was like a rite of passage for him to become,
All right, so after finding a mask in his family's secrets, or in his family's treasures, he trained in secret to become worthy of the bat mantle. Huh? Yeah.
kind of like a Batman Beyond.
Well, see, he also had a tragic past, and he learned from the original.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, spoiler alert. It was later determined that Terry McGinnis was a clone of Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Right.
It was stupid.
Well, so see, the thing is, Batman canonically already has a kid, and then he had all of the Robins.
Kids.
Yeah, his adopted children as well.
Yeah.
But then
he has Damian with Talia al Ghul. I know he has a kid with Selena Kyle. And I'm pretty sure he has a kid with maybe he had a kid with someone else. I can't.
There's like the whole
I know for
the Bat Canon family just keeps getting bigger,
Yeah.
And then also depends on which one you're following. Anyway, so we've established. Well, he was a fanboy, and he found this thing and decided, I'm gonna fucking train and become worthy of it.
Yeah.
But here's some other questions to flesh this out.
Okay.
So he learns magic, right?
Yep.
But how do we get to that stage? What I'm thinking, we can use that to describe his family. Right. So maybe his father or mother were the shaman or priests of their tribe.
Well, if you want like a dark or mysterious backstory for him, and this can like go into like explaining why he has such. He was adopted by a wizard of like the court wizard of the area while he found.
Well, why was he adopted if his parents were killed?
Well, that's the point. He doesn't know, so he only knows. So the whole point is he knows his truth. That could be like.
All right, so.
Like he was found. Like he can't. He was so young, so it can't be that track. You know.
See, I'm the way I'm picturing it is that he's putting on like this, like really rough barbarian hood
Yeah.
as a
Yep.
mantle, right? Which,
Yep.
if he's being adopted by another family, would lead me into more like refined society, right?
Okay, because I was thinking more of like this is just like Goliath city, like he was already in Gotham. Like this isn't like some savage barbarian Goliath tribe. Like this is a guy who was brought up in society and found it while like rummaging some. That's how I picked.
Hmm. See, well, I'm just trying to work in like that, like with the specific wording for the how the background or
Yeah.
sorry the mountainous upbringing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sort of picturing like this very well affluent but uh, war powerful family living in the mountains, and
Okay.
then he uncovers like this mantle in the chest after hearing all these stories about
All right. Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
it. Right? Um, uh, okay, but anyway, getting back into it, who is teaching this guy like abjuration magic? I would
Um,
consider maybe a close relative.
I was gonna say like he sought out. He like read the stories and sought out like a old sage, kind of like a Razo.
Okay, so
Sought,
maybe
like he kind of like sought out to like magic tribe. You know.
uh, okay. So what do we think about so once he's completed this preparation of body, he then goes on this quest to enhance his spirit, his
Yep.
casting ability, right?
Yeah, his mind, like his inner magic.
Right. And well, the story would dictate that this hero went to this place, so Carter will go as well.
Yep.
Right. Dude, I'm not digging this name. I'm gonna hold on.
Why not? Well, what name do you want?
Well, I'm actually gonna open up the book here.
Ah,
Right. Well, just because Carter LaBelle does not sound like a Goliath. Right. This
that's
doesn't.
the point.
This doesn't sound like a.
Like you already said, like he's trying to hide himself, so that doesn't have to be his real name.
Well,
That's
the not the
because like
real name is the Bat.
I like both.
All right. The other thing is that there's an inherent clan name, right?
Oh,
So this is what he's trying to keep secret. So you get so you get a birth. See, that's another thing in Goliaths. You get a birth name and also a nickname, right?
okay.
And then you're also called out by your tribal name.
Okay.
So this guy actually gets a couple of names. All right. So suggested names are Akan, Iglath, Gaal, Kathak, Maneo, Meveth, Nala, Orillo, Pavu, Pithani, Thalai, Thotham, Uthal, Vana, and Vimac.
Man, those suck ass. Those are bad.
Okay.
Like, they're so generic. They're just generic big dumb Goliath. It's like, that's my whole thing. It's just like 3 syllables.
Okay, how do you feel about Juan the Bruiser?
Juan the Bruiser.
You know, it's
Yeah.
the so maybe during a childhood fight or something, he really wailed on this
Yeah.
guy, gave him a nice big bruise, and his birth name
Okay.
was Juan. You know,
Okay.
the bruise of Juan.
The Bruise of Juan. Okay, I guess, yeah. So he has 2 the names. So he has 2 hero names, too.
Yeah. Let's see, and then we would also include a clan name, or maybe
On the Bruiser. Oh, yeah, read off the clan name.
see, and it's this part that I would get into how secretive his backstory is, because maybe he just doesn't tell you what clan he's from. See, because right here in the text, Goliaths present all 3 of their names when identifying themselves in the order of birth name, nickname, and then the clan name.
Okay.
And in casual conversation, they will use their nickname.
Okay.
The clan being the most important thing, right? The identifier, but maybe Juan doesn't include that as a means to protect his family, which would feed right into his backstory or his bond, or yeah. So he protects his family by not sharing
His name.
his
Yeah.
clan name.
Okay.
Right.
And his clan, yeah, he just call himself like, I am Juan the Bruiser the Man. Full name.
Well, no, to everybody around, he would be the Bat, right?
Oh,
But
okay.
only to those truly close to him does he even tell them his name is Juan the Bruiser.
Well, okay, I get it. Yeah.
So then we're just stacking on layers and layers, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we've got our Goliath Batman Abjuration Wizard. Let's see. This on the document. All right. So let's figure out something about this mage, right? So, obviously this is a wizard of sorts. It turns out the guy from the legend is still alive, right?
Oh, so the original the Bat is still alive. Or is the wizard? Okay, I'm kind of confused on that one. So is the Bat still alive, like the OG storybook hero, or is just the guy who?
I think it would be more interesting if it turned out that the original Bat was alive.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of like to play that it was all planned by the original for him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be a whole little story to play out there.
Right. So it's sort of a occurrence of fate, right?
Yeah.
Because then also that will lead into the philosophy of, to a Goliath, you introduce yourself with your family name every time, right? But it would be important to this sort of character to keep that anonymous, right? Body and mind. All right, learn the way is fine. arcane arts. Later, he would discover that his new mentor was none other than the original let's see. Do we want to make the original bat also a Goliath?
No, I want it to be something like completely like out of left field, like something completely fucking not what he expected.
Hmm.
Because remember, the whole thing is about him being like feared, never seen, stalks in the night. So no one's ever seen the original bat, so no one can tell what it actually was.
What if we make him a druid?
A druid would be cool.
Mainly because druids can shapeshift into animals, which at high levels you get in flying creatures, and also potentially longevity.
Yeah, and they have a lot of cool like shadow powers.
Yes, depending on the path you take. What do you think about maybe a dwarf?
I was thinking gnome.
Really?
A gnome.
Really?
Druid, yeah.
Really? A gnome?
Just to be so. Yep, because it's the
Wait,
exact opposite
so
of Goliath.
he's Batmite? The original was
Yeah, he's
Batmite?
Batmite. Yeah, it's fucking. Yeah, no, the original hero is Batmite.
All right. Okay, so Juan ventured out. Wayne. Okay, tell you what, I'm gonna edit this just to make it more pronounceable. So it's gonna be Wayne.
Yeah, it's better than Juan.
All right.
Yeah.
Wayne. Let's see. Wayne ventured out once his physical body was ready to retrace the steps of his hero, bring him to the keep of a powerful gnomish mage. Wayne learned the ways of fighting from the mage in both body and mind, and gained skills in the arcane arts. Later, he would discover that his new mentor was none other than the original Bat of Legend, a druid of. We're gonna change many secrets. So we've gone from some kind of super fighter to a guy who literally just turns into a giant bat. I think that's pretty good.
To fight crime. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So from here, so what becomes his quest, his desire, right?
So the whole thing and part of it is that like. So I think of it as the gnome looks at him and says, "Yeah, you're really strong. My strength did not come from my physical. See, it like he kind of failed in the point of mentally strong, and his quest is to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a quest to prove him.
All right.
Even further, because he thought like when he puts on the magic, like, oh, I just have to be really strong, ungodly strong, and now he has to like focus in on another tree. That's it.
All right. In order to prove himself, what? Worthy of his master? That's basic.
Yeah, that's simple. it works.
In order to gain what? Do you think something like a promise? Maybe if he can prove himself a true hero.
I would say it's like it's a bond. He's bonded to that character so much. Like he's bonded to the idea. You know, and he has to prove himself worthy of that bond.
All right, so Wayne now travels, fighting the criminals of the underworld in order to prove himself worthy to his master, blank. What do you think?
Wayne will be. You say he's a druid, right?
Yeah, I think we're going to keep druid.
His name can be rather Popo. It could be Popo the gnome druid, or
I mean, he doesn't need a name. He's just the bat.
He is the bat. Yeah, no, he is by all intents and purposes. All caps. All caps.
The true the bat.
There you go.
The bat. Okay. All right. I mean, I think we've got like a solid.
That's a solid
basic.
character, man. I would want to play this character. Like.
Yeah. All right.
Like, because the whole point is, like, I have such a good, like, the whole point of this character is to not use your best.
Oh, you know? Shit. Here's the one thing, though. He's got no armor.
But can he get magic armor?
He can get mage armor.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So, definitely going to have to rely on that.
Also, you can always buy some. Again, he is the best.
Now, let's talk about later levels.
Okay.
Maybe I would suggest getting into some feats or multi-classing. Because this character does not start off well in hand-to-hand combat. Mainly, it seems...
So I think a monk. Yeah, like cross-classing into monk.
Cross-classing into monk. What are the requirements for monk?
I think we reach all of them. I don't think there's any...
So most classes, multi-classing requires a minimum of a 13, I believe. Let's actually look at this. Page 163 for multi-classing. So obviously, in order to multi-class into something, you have to be proficient enough. So let's see. For a monk, requires a dexterity of 13 and a wisdom of 13.
Oh shit!
So what I would take that as, when you get to 4th level, you can increase your stats. Right? You can take that ability score improvement as a wizard. And you could put that into dexterity and wisdom, and then get into monk that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
which I kind of like that idea because it allows you, because that's more like a training here.
Otherwise, you could multi-class into fighter without using that because we've got a 19 strength, which absolutely hits the minimum for a fighter. And then choose some sort of maybe battle master or just to gain additional weapon proficiencies. Because this is a character that if you hand them a weapon should be able to hit anything, right?
Yeah, I think battle master might work.
Yeah.
Better. That's more techy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
That's what the more
Um,
bat
Alternatively, you could take a feat. I believe there's one specifically for thrown weapons, which relies on your dex, but that batarang action might be cool.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think Battle Master will kind of like cover that.
okay, so on our section here, let's see, additional features and traits. Future projection. Multiclass into fighter to gain weapon proficiencies. Um, and then also focus on warding spells.
Yeah, there you go. Hold that. I'll be right back.
All right. So I think overall we've got a pretty solid character concept. We've got a 7.5 foot tall wizard man who dresses up like a bat and fights crime by night because he's a fanboy. See, this would actually be a pretty interesting character to play because what you'd have to get into is your party's constant desire to want to be involved in your business. Um, let's see. All right. Huh. All right. And I think also with that future projection, getting into fighter just to gain the additional weapon proficiencies, be pretty good, especially once you can use the multi attack. Um, I don't know. I don't know how many levels you'd want to put into each. Personally, I'd consider something like, assuming we're reaching max level, I'd probably go something like 75, like, or something like 15.5 for the different levels. But that's entirely up to you. Oh yeah, I gotta fill airspace.
Oh, fair enough.
All right. But I know I was just saying for level split, I would think something like roughly. Well, getting that abjuration feature at 14th would be really good. So I would think something like maybe a 6-14 split. If you were to go and max out this character, right?
Yeah. 6 levels of fighter is still pretty fucking formidable.
Oh yeah. That's also assuming that you're playing with level cap design.
Yeah, so that's level 20.
Right.
14 levels of depth.
Depending on what style of game you're playing, you might it gets really broken once you go over a combined 20.
Oh yeah, then like a level 40, like a level 20.
Well, I mean,
Abjuration was in a level 20 Battle Master.
Yeah, I mean, potentially you could max out multiple classes. It's just you have to have the minimum to join in each.
I kind of want to make an MP character now with that. Just a character who has just a 20 in every fucking class. Just a literal god.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, oh boy, there are certain third-party materials which will explain how to become a god.
Yeah.
They're all very broken.
I think that should be one of them. To be level 20 in every class, so you just become a god.
Well, generally, once you're level 20 in one thing,
Yeah.
you're basically at like a demigod status.
Yeah,
Like you're
no,
level
that
20, characters are hunting you down for either help or to destroy you because you're going to be in the way of their
you're that
plans,
power. Yeah.
right?
Well, exactly. Well, again, like, if you imagine like, because how many classes are there in baseline D? In fifth ed, how many?
Uh, Baseline, if you're not using Eberons, you have 12.
Nope. The baseline. So there's 12. So you have 12 classes at level 20 in one character. You're pretty much omniscient at that point. Because I know level 20 wizards are gods. That's your wish
I
list.
mean,
That's your fucking.
like literally the descriptions for level uh, 10, 11, 12 spells are like reality altering spells,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, high enough, high enough in anything else, right? You can fucking chop mountains in half.
Well, I know with like battle like monks, like a level 20 monk, you're basically just a super.
Uh, Monks basically become immortal just because of their
Yeah.
zenness.
Or if you're a battle monk, a super.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, Talon, thanks for joining me and all the help today. For the
Yeah.
viewers at home, I'm thinking about making this a regular thing. So if you liked it, and I know you know, send me a PM. Maybe I'll get some different guests on. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming to the stream. Maybe we'll
Yep.
catch you next
Cool
time.
chat.
All right. Um, Thanks for joining us.